What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another um, retro superhero review. This time on the sequel to the Fantastic Four from '05, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Developed, I think, I'm not sure. I don't think they published it, but developed by 2K Games. Not sure if they're still around. Um, this came out, I believe, in 2007. It's hard to believe this movie, Ghost Rider, and Spider-Man 3, I believe, all came out in the same year. That is such I do not remember that. That is such a blur. Of course, I could only see one at that time, so I saw Spider-Man 3 when I was 7, and I remember that being a very fun movie experience. But so kind of like, I didn't really get too much into this in my last video, the previous review, because I showed off those classic Marvel Legend Fantastic Four figures. The Fantastic Four hasn't had the best rate when it comes to video games. Kind of like with Superman. Their video games are rather a gem or mediocre, unfortunately. They had a beat 'em up game on the PS1. It had an awesome ass soundtrack. I will tell you that the PS1 game had an awesome soundtrack, but the gameplay and the graphics were not that good. Like, maybe if you were a kid and you and your sibling or cousins or friend played, like if it was something you played all together, then maybe the experience wouldn't have been as bad, but it just has not aged well at all. I might check it out one day, maybe not. Um, it had a crappy PS1 game. I'm shocked they never got an arcade game. I mean, X-Men got an arcade game. I'm not sure if any other superheroes, but Fantastic Four had the perfect array of villains I mean, they easily could have made an arcade beat 'em up back in the day. It's a shame. Konami could have did that. That would have been amazing if they had done that, but never happened. Never got an arcade game. Super missed opportunity. Then we got the console game based off the first movie. Again, I played some down on PS2. For the most part, it still holds up. I do like it. This game got a Xbox 360 version. It's kind of mediocre. It has better graphics, but you know. I played the PS2 version, and I forgot. This also got a DS version, which I played a little bit of. It's not that great, unfortunately. It's not that great, sadly. I forgot to mention in the last video, they did make a sequel to the Game Boy version based off the first movie called Fantastic Four Flame On, where he plays the Human Torch only, which wasn't a bad, it was a spin-off game. It wasn't a bad idea. They kind of threw in some snowboarding elements, which was kind of weird. His nurse who was I think she was in the movie, Candy, she's his love interest in the game. It was such a weird game, but the little bit I played, it was still cool. Like, yeah, you're playing as the Human Torch. He's probably one of the strongest Marvel heroes. So, it had a cool premise, but I really just couldn't get into it. I like the first game more, where you play as the whole family. Um, so yeah, this game had a PS2 game, which is the one I'll be talking about. It kind of plays like the first two Ultimate Alliance games, or I guess you could say really all three of them. So imagine, for anyone who's played Ultimate Alliance, I've played Ultimate Alliance 1. Imagine just playing Ultimate Alliance, the way that game was set up, that style of gameplay, but if you only play as the Fantastic Four. That's basically what this game is, the PS2 version. Again, so it has similar gameplay to Ultimate Alliance. The characters kind of play similarly. You do get upgrades throughout the game. Every member of the family has their own cool, unique abilities. You pretty much go through different areas throughout the game. You fight the Skrull. I think you may fight like Ronan the Accuser or something. You might fight Super Skrull. Of course, you fight Doctor Doom, and there's some other story elements. So it's like they pulled the storyline from the movie, and then they mixed in some other Fantastic Four-esque stories with it, which wasn't bad. Added to the gameplay. The voice cast did good. Unfortunately, they didn't get the same voice cast from the movie, but everybody sounded everybody sounded great. Again, the dialogue felt very, in tune to what the storyline in the movie was. Like, Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, are trying to get married, and they had a few attempts of trying to get married, but every time they would have the ceremony, something bad would happen, and they all have to go be superheroes, and it just kept getting pushed back, pushed back, pushed back. So we do kind of get a little bit of that in the game. Invisible Woman Sue wants Reed to focus on their wedding. And he's like, but the world's in danger. The world's at stake. We gotta, we're still superheroes. We gotta figure out what's going on, you know, and save the day. And eventually she comes around, like, you're right. The focus should be saving the world. And Reed is like, of course, but like I said, of course, us getting married is very important. It's important to me, important to you. But like I said, we're at the end of the day, we're still superheroes. We have to do what's right. Sometimes we have to put our personal feelings aside for the greater good. And that was kind of cool. Like, yeah, like, okay, I guess it added tension. Like, they are family. Silver Surfer, it would have been cool if he was like a secret unlockable character. He's not, but he does aid you towards the end of the game, which is cool. The bosses are okay. Like I said, this honestly, like, it felt like Ultimate Alliance 1. Or if this had got a PSP release, I could easily see this version being on like the PlayStation Portable. Like I said, it's not a bad game. Unfortunately, I think it got a lot of mixed reviews when it came out. I honestly feel like if you were to play this with a friend, sibling, cousin, whatever, you would have a good time. It's a game. It's set up for multiplayer. It's a game you would want to play with other people. I just played it. I had single player because I was playing it on my phone, playing it through emulator. I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time. I still had a good time. You can unlock costumes in this game throughout the levels. You'll find tokens. And if you collect enough tokens, you can unlock different costumes, like the classic 60s style uniforms. There are 80s, 90s uniforms, like the navy blue and white. I'm not sure if they're heroes. Like the outfit Sue's wearing right now. I'm not sure if they're wearing their black and blue Heroes Reborn outfits. I think they were. I can't remember. But I like that. Like one of the things I miss about old superhero games, when you could unlock costumes for the characters, like that just added to the replay value. Even if it was just a cosmetic change, it was still a lot of fun. It still added to the replay value of the game. So I really do miss that. Again, so that's kind of it, really. Solid. Story was fine. Voice cast did a good job. The gameplay's fine. Again, you can swap between each member of the team. Like if one character has low health, you can swap to another character. If the team gets taken out, if everybody gets taken out, it's game over. But like, say if 3 of the team gets taken out and only one of them is still alive, you have to wait like a couple of seconds for them to spawn back in. So for the most part, they're very lenient on game overs. Like I said, unless the whole team dies, you're not going to get a game over. Notice everybody has solid move sets, super attacks. It's really fun. Like I said, if you like the Fantastic Four like me, or love the Fantastic Four, it's a fun gaming experience, So again, that's kind of it for this review. I recommend it if you're interested. Again, maybe look at some gameplay first, get a feel of it. But like I said, if you liked the Ultimate Alliance game, and like I say, you wanted to play a version of that where you just play as the Fantastic Four, then you might like this. Next video will be another movie review, so stay tuned for that. Like, comment, follow, share. Stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another Netflix movie review. This time on something I heard really good things about. I think it may have got a little bit of controversy due to the subject matter, but I heard really good things about this movie. Nimona, which came out June 30th of 2023. So this movie's a year old. Yeah, I kind of went into this blind. I really didn't read up on the story. I just knew that it existed, and I was blown away. This was a really cute animated adventure fantasy movie. Um, Also, side note, it feels so good to watch something new and refreshing and talk about it. I've been looking forward to talking about this. I actually saw this last night, this recording, so I wanted so why everything was still fresh in my brain. I wanted to kind of get all my thoughts and opinions on this movie out and make a video. Um, One of my other videos, I mentioned that I hadn't really had the time to, sit and watch, some new content. So that means I wouldn't really have anything new to talk about. So that's why I started talking about video games. And I'll probably go back and forth movies, video games, anime, obscure media, all that stuff. Just to switch things up and, so my material won't get stale and won't, just talk about the same thing over and over again. But yeah, so originally, I didn't see what year the book came out. This movie was based off a graphic novel, I think written, I'm not sure if it was written and illustrated by, N.D. Stevenson was the creator of the novel. I mean, not the novel, the graphic novel. So, but I'm not sure if they illustrated. Um, this movie had two directors, Troy Cunet and Bruno. My bad. The second director's name is Nick Bruno. I'm trying to get everybody's name out of the way so we can get to the video because, I want to address the directors and everybody, who brought this movie to life. So, yeah, our cast being, I'm trying to remember, Chloe, I forgot the rest of her name, but she plays Nimona, who is our shape-shifting female secondary protagonist of this movie. Chloe is a very well-known actress. She's been in, she was Hit Girl and Kick-Ass. She's been in a lot of other stuff, but that's what I remember. She was also in the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie, but a lot of people might not remember that. Not sure how many people saw that. The actor playing our main character, Ballister, I think that's his name. He's a knight, and this takes place in like a futuristic medieval world, which is really really cool. He's Riz Ahmed voices our main character, and Eugene Lee Yang voices Ballister's love interest or former partner, however you want to say it. So this movie, I wouldn't say it's well. I'll get more into the LGBTQ representation after I kind of go over I'll give you guys a brief synopsis of what the movie's about. So basically, Ballister, our main character, was about to be accepted as a knight. He was going through his initiation. The queen of the town or the city was about to, not nominate, but officially, make him a knight, hand him his sword. But the ceremony was, what's the word I'm looking for? Right, the ceremony was interrupted, and Ballister was framed for murder. Wow, he was framed for killing the queen. The sword that she gave him, it had been replaced by the sword he was supposed to receive was replaced by a booby trap sword, so to speak, and it went off and ended up unfortunately K-warning the queen. Ballister's partner, who's played by Eugene Lee Yang, I'll just call him Yang, Ballister's romantic partner, and his fellow knight, Yang. Just because of their night training, he reacts to the situation and he accidentally cuts Ballister's arm off, clean off. So you can see behind me, Ballister has a cybernetic prosthetic arm, which is actually, really cool. Still messed up, still effed up how he lost his arm, but still really cool that he was able to replace it. And he basically becomes a fugitive and he's, in hiding. So basically somebody framed him. Somebody framed Ballister for whatever reason. Of course, I won't spoil why or who. That's, we find out throughout the movie. I low-key kind of early on kind of picked up on like who I thought the culprit was who framed him. So if you watch this movie for yourself or you've already seen it, then you'll know who I'm talking about, or you might have had the same feeling like, that person's kind of suspicious. I wonder. So then and eventually meets Nimona, who just kind of shows up at his place, his home that he's hiding out at. And of course, he's like, "Who the heck are you know? Like, who the heck are you? Where'd you come from? Like, I'm not." Like, she wants to be. She thinks that he's an actual villain, which he isn't. And he convinces her like, "No, I'm a good guy. I was framed and trying to figure out who framed me. All that good stuff." So she eventually is willing to help him. She's like, "I want to be your sidekick." Nimona, of course, Chloe did a phenomenal job voicing Nimona. I think she may have won an award for her performance, which she highly deserved because Nimona's energy on screen, I tell you, it's all over the place. It's fun. It's like she just has so much energy on screen. She is so fun to watch and listen to, and I could easily see her character becoming like a huge character in pop culture or in the cosplay community, of course, the LGBTQ community, all that cool stuff. Like, I could totally see her being a really popular character in those different mediums. And she has the ability to shapeshift. She can shapeshift into a person, she can shapeshift into an animal, a monster. Like, yeah, she's pretty badass. Like, if you could have any sidekick by your side from any fiction or whatever, if you ever or just want to have any friend in your from fiction in your circle, Nimona would be probably be like my top five characters I would have in my group or as a sidekick. She is just so much fun. Um, there's a lot of, like I said, I really adore the animation. It's very cute, very fluent. The animators did a phenomenal job with how everybody moves, and especially Nimona. Like I said, her movements on screen is just it's eye candy. Um, like I said, the rest of the voice cast did a solid job. Like I said, the character designs are very charming and cute. I've seen a little bit some of the illustrations from the graphic novel, which is fairly different from the animated movie. So which is cool. I like that they're not just carbon copy of one another. Um, so I will address Ballister and Lee Yang's or Lee's relationship in this movie. It's very tasteful. It's not in your face. It's not over the top. It's not like you don't want, like, if you had your children looking at this, you wouldn't want them to be exposed to something you don't want them to be exposed to too early. Like, you don't really get those vibes. It's played no like a normal couple. Like if they were a male and female couple, it's played tastefully and it's played like, yeah, this is how two people would act in real life, if they were in a relationship. Um, and I like that. I really, really, like that aspect. It kind of gave me, for anyone who's familiar with Adventure Time, Marshall Lee, Prince Gumball vibes, or Marceline and Prince Bubblegum vibes. That's kind of what it reminded me of. So I really, appreciate, those aspects. Um, yeah, and if you couldn't tell, I support the LGBTQ community. I have a friend who's LGBTQ and they're married. So they always give me insight or all the good stuff about the community. So yeah, like I said, I just really like the representation in this movie, and I believe the author of the graphic novel is LGBTQ. So again, really really cool. It's all done very positively. Both Ballister and Nimona have character arcs in this movie. I will not going into a lot of detail. I will say Nimona's character arc kind of reminds me of the Iron Giant, so to speak, which was really weird. Like I got similarities between her and the Iron Giant. For anyone who's seen the Iron Giant movie from Warner Brothers, I believe, like they were both looked at as like monsters, but they ended up, showing that they're not monsters. They're just genuine, kind-hearted individuals who are trying to do right by others, but have been treated a certain way because of what they can do or how they're, how they look. So I thought that was really interesting. But this movie, it's very charming, very, very wholesome. I highly recommend it. Give it a watch if you haven't seen it. Check it out. Peace, you guys. What's up, guys? Your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another, fan film, fan animation, YouTube video review. So basically, another piece of fan media. This one I didn't know about, but it's become really successful and really popular in the Aliens community. The Alien franchise with Sigourney Weaver from 1979. This is an animated pretty much like an animated tribute or love letter to that original movie or the franchise as a whole, really. Um, this was in development for 6 years, I believe, and the person who made it, who has their own YouTube channel, animation channel on YouTube, I believe they were the only person who worked on it. Now, they did have some people do, there's a little bit of voice acting in this by our main character, female character, which is cool. And I think they, had a music sound composer do the music for this. I'm not sure if this fan film has any original music. I'm not entirely sure. I've only seen it once. I have to watch it again. But for what it is, I mean, again, one person made this. I mean, animated this. I can't imagine. I've dabbled in stop motion animation. I think I've mentioned that in previous videos. I have a handful that are currently on my YouTube channel. For those who go out and look at my YouTube channel, it's the same name as my TikTok. And stop motion, even though you're animating physical objects, stop motion takes a lot of time. So I can only imagine working on an animated project like this for 6 years. Like, just let that sink in how just, how dedicated this person was to have made this. I'm applauding them for just their hard work, because this really shows that they put their foot into making this animated feature. Yeah, so the person who made this, their name is called Oda King. Their YouTube channel is called Oda King Animations. So what is this about? Well, we have our main female character whose name escapes me at the moment. We'll just call her Liz. So we have Liz. She's on a ship. I'm not sure what the ship's function is. I can't remember if they were engineers or I can't remember what specific job or career the people on the ship had. But then we only know of two other crew members, the captain and another one of her crew members. Some stuff goes down. Let's just say someone gets attacked by a face hugger, and that led to a xenomorph getting loose on the ship. And basically her and the ship's computer kind of have to work together to K-word the alien. Honestly, I mean, but then maybe that was what they were going for. I think maybe it could have been better if, like, they had Oda King. I doubt if you see this. This is just my critique. I'm not bashing or anything like that. I'm just giving my opinion. It would have been cooler if they kind of maybe had, like, music, like in a horror movie, you might have eerie music playing when something's about to happen, or when the character is just, tense and scared and stuff like that. I think that kind of would have added to the film and just added to the experience. It felt kind of weird, like you just have these really quiet moments or whatever. There's no dialogue, but there's maybe like sound effects, but there's just really not too much noise. But again, that might have been what they were going for. So if that was cool. Another thing I want to say, like, I want you guys to kind of get a clear look of the image behind me. Just let the picture sink in. Just the silhouette of the xenomorph's tail, the ship, Liz in her spacesuit. This looks like, that's another thing I want to say. This animation, I can probably tell what generation the creator grew up in. It looks like a 90s anime. It looks like a 90s anime OVA. And I guess I should say at the beginning, this is like a fan-made Aliens anime. Fun fact, we almost got an Aliens cartoon in like the 80s or the 90s. I think it was the 80s. The toy line at the time, Kenner, who made figures for like RoboCop, Predator, Terminator, they had the license, and some of the toys in the toy line were intended to be in a part of a cartoon. I think there's concept art that you could maybe find on Google. So just the thought that we could have got an Aliens cartoon geared towards children is really, really crazy when you think about it. But it's a bummer that didn't happen. But like I said, to get a little short fan films, like 30 minutes, that again pays tribute to those classic kind of anime, 90s anime, 80s anime art styles. To me, it's just amazing and really, really cool. So again, I have to continue to praise Oda King for the creative look of this film, making it look like an old school anime. That's awesome. Um, I guess another example, for those who saw my Lily Cat video, which Lily Cat came out in the '80s. Pretty much, it was if you took the setting of Alien and you took the creature from The Thing with John Carpenter's The Thing, and you kind of put those two together, then you kind of get Lily Cat, which is one of my favorite horror anime OVAs because there's really nothing else like it. So if you're interested in that, of course, you could just watch my review for it on my channel. I think I did a re-review. Yeah, I did a re-review on it a little while ago. But I mean, that's kind of it, really. Great art style, storyline solid for an alien story. Great cinematography, voice acting for what's the little voice acting we do get is cool. It's just really charming. It's really, really charming. I mean, it would be cool if they kind of made like a Predator one or something, you know, or do a follow up to this. But if this is all we get, still, it's dope for what it is. Like if you just want to watch fan content of Alien or Predator, there's plenty of fan content, rather stop motion, fan film, fan animation, whatever. You know, this just adds to that large community, fan community for these properties who like to make fan content. Um, so once again, like, comment, share. Check out Oda King's YouTube channel. That's where you can watch Alien Monday. Um, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another movie review, which I haven't done in a while. This movie, I is a child. Honestly, yeah, this movie's a childhood classic. I think I've mentioned before. A lot of my favorite action movies came out around the same year, 2004. Uh, I, Robot, starring Will Smith as the main character. Chronicles of Riddick, which also came out in '04. Alien vs. Predator, which came out in '04. Spider-Man 2, which came out in '04. Hellboy 1 with Ron Perlman came out in '04. Van Helsing came out in '04. um, Kill Bill. I'm not sure when Kill Bill 1 and 2. I can't remember when those came out, but ironically, yeah, those I grew up on those. King Kong, which came out in 2005. Um, so these movies, these all these action movies, just kind of have a special place in my heart because, like, I grew up with these. I saw these religiously as a kid. So I can pretty much like marathon these or watch these over and over again and not get tired of them. I guess that's nostalgia for you. This was directed by Alex Perez. This is a really cool sci-fi, I guess kind of a sci-fi murder mystery action movie. Um, this takes place in 2035. I'm not sure if the town it takes place in is fictional, if it's based off of real world, or the city this movie takes place in is based off a real world city, or is just fictional. Outside of Will Smith, the cast is solid. Shia LaBeouf is in this. He plays a minor supporting character, and Alan Tudyk, who actually plays our robot, who our secondary protagonist, Sonny, our robot character. He voices him. And there's a lot of other well-known actors. Will's co-star, let me. Okay, Will's co-star is Bridget Monahan. She's been in a lot of stuff as well. I'm not sure what she's been in recent years, but you know, I love her. Love her performance in this movie. Yeah. Where to begin? Love Will Smith. Minus some things he's done in recent years. You know, in a situation like that, sometimes separate the art from the artist. Won't get into that, but yeah, love him. Been a fan of his since I was a kid. Grew up on Fresh Prince of the Bel Air. Grew up on the MIB Men in Black movies, the first two. Um, I'm sure, and like I said, I saw him in I, Robot, I Am Legend. I mean, I really didn't see Bad Boys till I was a little bit older. Um, but I've always been fond of him. I've always been fond of him. Always. He's just, you know, just a cool, just dope black African American actor. Always been a fan of his. I like even like some of his music. Some of his music is very catchy and charming. Summertime, the song he did with DJ Jazzy Jeff, who was also played his friend on Fresh Prince. I think that's considered a classic in the Black community. Classic summer song, rap hip hop song. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of his. Um, and his son, I like some of his content. I forgot. I talked about Jaden, his son Jaden Smith. I talked about him in Jackie Chan Karate Kid, the Karate Kid remake for Black History Month. So, like, I'm a fan of Jaden as well. Um, his wife Jada, I think she's a talented actress as well too. I've seen some of her older stuff. So, whole family's talented. I think even his daughter Willow, I think she's a musician. So that's dope. The whole family are talented at what they do. Uh, kind of rambling a little bit, but yes. So, like, this takes place in 2035, where we have service robots. Just so we may have robots just casually roaming around the city, helping, serving, whatever. So not too far from what we have now, and what we could be close to in the next 10 years or so, which is kind of interesting. A famous scientist who was a friend of Will Smith's character, who's a police detective, he gets K-worded, and a robot, or one of the last robots that he created, Sonny, played by Alan Tudyk, was at the scene of the crime. For reasons which I won't spoil, and they do explain the reason why. Will's character, he does not like robots. He's not fond of them. He does not trust them. When we see him in his apartment, he still kind of uses old. I guess at the time it was considered modern technology. Like in 2004, the stuff that we saw in his apartment would be considered modern technology, but everybody else is using futuristic stuff like voice activated stuff. Like if you had Alexa or something, people, or Google Home, stuff like that people would use now. That's what other people were using, but he was using what was considered, what you would consider now dated, old, outdated stuff, old, outdated technology, which was kind of really cool. So like I said, the professor gets murdered. He thinks the robot is responsible. Of course, people are like, well, a robot is programmed to do as they're told. A robot couldn't go out of its way to harm or kill someone. So there's really, like, the company is like, who makes these robots that the professor was a part of. They're kind of like, well, you don't have any evidence, you don't have any proof. We'll just deactivate this robot. They see Sonny as a he was just defective, and we'll handle it. We'll get rid of it instead of actually looking deeper into it, like the detective Will, like Detective Will is doing. So there's kind of it's a good mystery, murder mystery. Surprisingly, there was a lot of like I said, a lot of stuff happens that kind of glossing over some things. A lot of stuff happens. It's a really interesting conspiracy. When we find out who the true culprit was responsible for killing the professor. There's a lot of good action scenes in this movie. Um, yeah, it's just a solid sci-fi action suspense. I don't know if I say suspense, but sci-fi action murder mystery movie. You take two genres. I mean, you took the sci-fi genre and you took the mystery genre and you put them together, and you have Will Smith as your main star, and it worked. It would have been cool to have seen this in theaters. The robots, which you can kind of see them behind me. We do see some different robot designs throughout the movie, but these robots are the most modern, or the most recent robots that were coming out. Their designs are a little off-putting, a little uncanny. I'm not gonna say they're bad. I wouldn't say they're bad designs. They're different. They're different to the point where that makes them unique. They're different, and you know, interesting looking. They're creative. And I like that. I mean, it's a sci-fi movie, so when we see robots show up in fiction, science fiction, you know, you always want them to, you know, every robot always looks cool, looks different, looks interesting, creative. And I can say the same for these robots. Like their heads and their torsos are white, and their limbs are like kind of have white on them, gray, metal, black on the other parts of their bodies. And if they were like, you know, programmed to harm you, they could do some serious damage. So you know, we do get some cool action scenes and all that good stuff. It's just very charming. It keeps you engaged. You know, it keeps you invested. You're like, yeah. Once you see that the professor has been K-worded, you're like, yeah, I want to know who did it, what happened, why did this happen, you know, all that stuff. So, in that aspect, it's very charming. But definitely check it out, give it a watch. I'm not sure if it's free on streaming. I've seen it 1,000 times. So, you know, like, comment, share, follow, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys.